Good afternoon, everybody. So Cordoba Minerals is exploring for copper in Arizona, and we're developing a mine in Colombia. The mine is essentially going to be this hill, and you can see there's a small informal community at the bottom of it. The resultant open pit essentially will be that hill upside down. So we're going to be right into high-grade ore from the word go. So we're a subsidiary of Ivanhoe Electric. Ivanhoe Electric was one of the largest IPOs in New York this year. We just went to market in New York with $1 billion valuation. So we're a subsidiary of that. Robert Friedland is the largest single shareholder. Ivanhoe Electric owns 63%, and we have Chinese partners with just under 20%. So we're exploring in Arizona, and we're developing in Colombia. I'm going to be focused mainly on the San Matias project, which is the Colombian asset, where we're currently underway with a feasibility study, having completed a very positive PFS earlier this year. Eduardo mentioned something about a private company trading on the stock exchange. Well, we're not far off that as well. You can see the shareholder distribution means that there's a very small free float. It's only 17%. And that's really reflected in price discovery. We rarely have shares trading on a day-by-day basis. We're very aware of that. We're putting in place plans to have that addressed in due course, because obviously we do want to see proper price discovery. I think we're trading at less than 0.1% of, less than 10% of NPV currently. So the project team, Sarah and I have been with Robert Friedland for over a decade each. Charlie Forster at the bottom there, he was the guy that discovered Oyu Tolgoi. So it's an experienced team, one that's experienced both in the Americas and elsewhere in the world. But right now I'm wearing 3 hats. I'm also the Chief Operating Officer of Ivanhoe Electric as well as Kaizen Discovery. So I represent the owner and the shareholder, controlling shareholder in that management team. The board of directors is actually controlled by independents, but Govind is the representative of Ivanhoe Electric on the board, and then we have Dr. Peng, who is the representative of JCHX, with the other 3 members being independent. So San Matias, we are in the northern part of Colombia. On the right-hand side there you can see a map. We are on the doorstep of Cerro Matosa and also a coal mining district to the north of us. That means that the infrastructure and the services that we need as a developing mine are on our doorstep, and the province is very supportive of open pit mining. The people that we're engaged with know what this means, and they're supportive of it. The project is made up of 4 deposits, but the bulk of the tonnage and the grade is the Alacran deposit, and that's just over 100 million tons. It's not particularly spectacular grades, but because it's at surface and it's got a very simple metallurgy, it means the economics are quite attractive. So we defined a $415 million NPV in the PFS there, and we're currently looking at ways of further improving that. So right now we're underway with a feasibility study. We're doing a lot of drilling. Those of you that follow us in the market will have seen, and we're getting great grades from the surface in the middle of that community that I just introduced you to. So the makeup of the deposit, it's about 2/3 copper, 1/3 precious metals, with the bulk of that being gold. There is a decent silver credit as well. And it's a fairly price-sensitive project. You can see that at the prices we were seeing early this year, it would be worth over $700 million post-tax NPV. Right now we're focused on the $3.60, which we use in the PFS. We'll also be using that in the feasibility, and that gives $415 million. Decent IR of 25%, but as I mentioned earlier, I think there is still room to further improve that. So we're doing a 40,000 meter drill program right now. We've just completed over 23,000 meters as of today. And so that's going to go into an updated resource using those more attractive grades that I just mentioned. A lot of that's going to then be going into metallurgical studies, doing more hydro, we're doing more geotech, looking at ways of further optimizing the PFS plant by relocating it, looking at electricity supply. We've already identified which port we're going to use for concentrate, and it is a very clean concentrate, something that should be in demand. And throughput is also going to be a further study, because we're getting a lot of high grades close to surface. We're not convinced that we need to be building such a large mine from the word go. We might be able to downsize that slightly without damaging the NPV, but still preserving a better IRR. Yeah, we've been putting out a number of press releases in the last few weeks about the high grades we're seeing at surface. So we're getting regularly now over 100 meters of 1% copper, over 1.1, 1.2% copper equivalent. Sometimes up to 130, 140 meters. We're getting high-grade carbonate-based metal veins. We're also getting some replacement with massive sulfides. All of that is not in the current resource model, and so by including that in the resource model update that we'll be putting into the market next year, we hope to further improve the project economics. And that just shows some of the highlights that we're getting. You can see decent intervals, high grades, massive sulfides locally. So all of that will be coming into the next resource update. And I can't repeat enough, this is accessible from very early mining years. Year one will be right into the middle of this stuff. And so that's going to be very attractive for a mining economics point of view. There are a number of communities that will be affected. So we've already done one of the 2 mining permits that's needed in Colombia. We've submitted our program of technical works, that's the PTO. The EIA is also going to include these 12 communities, and the EIA will be based on the feasibility study. That'll come out at the end of 2023. And one of those communities will have to be relocated, so we're putting in agreements with them about where they'll be going. It's going to be fairly close by, and of course we're going to be giving preferential opportunities to all of these 12 communities in the development and the subsequent operation of the mine. The second project that we've got is called Perseverance. This is in Arizona in the United States. It's not far from Ivanhoe Electric's Santa Cruz project, which some of you might be aware of. So we're in the top left corner there of Arizona, not far from the border with Nevada. This is a project that was originally defined and identified by Bell Copper. We did a deal with them in 2018, and we're currently into the phase 3 spend, which gives us the right to earn a 70% interest. We'll eventually exit the project with 80% interest as we continue funding. So we're right at the corner of the Colorado Plateau and the Basin and Range Province, and this is quite important because the previous holders of this deposit had looked at an outcropping porphyry in the bottom left of this image, and they'd said you've got the root of a porphyry system exposed at the top of a mountain. And most geologists would say, well, it was above us, that it's been eroded, it's gone. Dr. Tim Marsh, he recognized that actually the basin and range faulting that you see in this area might just as easily have dismembered that porphyry and carried it into the valley where it's then been covered over by gravels, subsequent gravels. So he's been chasing that for a number of years. We like the thesis, we like the results that he'd put into the market, and that's why we did the deal with them. And so we've recently drilled K20 and K21. Both of these have intersected upgraded copper mineralization relative to the background. We're seeing some massive sulfide veins. We're seeing a lot of alteration, which suggests that there is a porphyry close by, but we have not intersected it yet. But it's getting closer and closer as we continue to drill. So the next phase of work needs to be some more geophysics. We'll be taking Ivanhoe Electric's Typhoon system into this area, running that. It is quite a deep area, so you're looking at 500 or 600 meters of cover. As a result, you need a powerful system like Typhoon. We hope that that will then give upgraded targets for us to be drill testing later next year. So this is the timeline for the projects. We're currently in the feasibility study. That will be winding up towards the end of 2023, so you can expect an ongoing regular news flow of the drill results and some of the test work that we're doing with the economic studies. So that will then lead into detailed engineering 2024 and construction decisions, and mine construction should then take place. Potentially we could be mining, assuming that we get all of the government permits in 2026. Perseverance being exploration, that's really just to do the geophysics and drilling from next year onwards. So we're an unusual company with such dominant shareholders, but we do think that we present quite a compelling investment proposition for those of you that are looking for exposure both to development assets as well as to earlier stage exploration assets.